This video is unlike anything you've seen from me because I'm going to tell you in 10 minutes the life lessons that took me 50 painful years to learn. It took me decades of mistakes, heartbreak, and finally breakthroughs to discover what actually matters in creating a life full of authentic love, joy, and fulfillment in every area. In this video, I'm sharing the raw, unfiltered truth I wish someone had told me earlier. Because if you don't figure these things out now, you'll waste precious years playing a game you can never win by rules that were never designed for your happiness. Here's lesson number 1. I think I've made every mistake imaginable. Stuck in an unhealthy relationship? Been there. Scared of rejection, always comparing yourself, never satisfied. I've seen those patterns in myself and others, and they shape everything. Relationships, career, friendships. When you doubt your worth, you find yourself settling for less in love, work, life. You miss opportunities and you end up with people you don't even like. Now, these insecurities, they live in your blind spots. They control you in ways you don't realize. And they don't disappear by themselves. Here's what I wish someone told me sooner. Healing your childhood wounds isn't optional, it's essential. Find a therapist or a coach who gets you, a supportive group. Practice self-love. It's not too late, I promise. When you do this work, you'll finally value yourself. And then everything changes. You'll attract the right kind of people and find real peace. So, make healing your life's mission. It's not convenient, but it's a must. Do it and watch the problems you thought couldn't be fixed. They start resolving on their own. Now let's talk about the second lesson. Lesson number 2. If you think, there's no one out there for me, I've tried enough, it's just so frustrating and everyone's toxic or looking for hookups, so I'd rather be single. Be really honest with yourself. Do you really believe deep down that being single is the ultimate dream? Now, I get it. The dating scene can be exhausting, and sometimes it feels easier to just opt out entirely. Some people do really prefer to be single, and that's okay. But ask yourself, deep down, is it really that? Or wanting to be single comes from wanting to avoid all those bad experiences or rejections or traumas you had in the past? Because if it does, then you'd want to take an honest look at the situation and stop letting your past control your future. And I'm not talking about settling for someone just to avoid being alone. I'm talking about finding someone who's done their own emotional work, someone who communicates clearly, who shows up when things get tough, someone who makes your life better, not more complicated. From what I've personally witnessed over my 5 decades, men who find the right partners, their life is richer and more fulfilling, even with the challenges that come with any relationship. So, my second lesson is, if you want to live a happy life, find a husband and make each other happy. Don't let a string of bad dates or past heartbreaks convince you that a life partnership isn't worth pursuing. The right relationship won't drain you. It will energize you. It will support you and help you become your better self, your best self. And at the end of the day, humans aren't meant to go through life alone. We thrive when we have someone by our side who's there for us and truly sees us. A good partnership doesn't just add to your life, it entirely transforms your life. Now, before I talk about the third huge life lesson, if you're finding value in this video, you'll love my weekly newsletter where I share insights and strategies for navigating gay dating, relationships, and life in general. Link is in the description. And now to lesson number 3. In recent years, I developed a sort of an allergy. It's an allergy for people who complain. And you know why? Because complaining keeps training your mind to spot what's wrong instead of what's good. It repels positive people and attracts negative ones. Now, there's the opposite. something that the more you do of, the more you become happier, content, and at peace with the world and with yourself. It's gratitude. And I mean actively looking for things to appreciate every single day. The people in your life, the opportunities you have that and others might not, even simple pleasures like a good cup of coffee. I'm also grateful for being gay. It brought some really amazing people into my life. It made me strong and self aware. And I got to build a life that is not something that society handed me as a template. It's a life that's truly mine. Now, let me tell you a story from last year. I had excruciating pain in my lower back and I needed to see the doctor. I could barely stand straight. I couldn't sit down, so taking a taxi was impossible. The doctor was just 10 minutes away, but I knew it would be a journey. I started shuffling along at the pace of a snail. Each wrong little move would send a sharp pain through my body. Halfway there, after 30 minutes of agony, my mind was in full complaint mode. Why me? This is unbearable. And that's when I caught myself. I forced out a question. How can I be grateful right now? And believe me, I did not want to play this game, not then. But as I pushed myself to find answers, something shifted. I had people who cared about me. I could still walk, even if barely. The sun was out. As I was recalling these things, my breath steadied. Now, when I finally reached the doctor's office, the receptionist looked up. The doctor just left for lunch. 2 hours wait. I felt so frustrated. Again. But I took a breath and repeated, what can I be grateful for here? And there's always something. I could rest. There was my favorite cafe nearby with the cheesecake I loved. Always something. And the remarkable thing? My pain didn't disappear, but my suffering decreased. By choosing gratitude that moment, I transformed my experience completely. That's why gratitude isn't just a nice sentiment. It's an emotional bulletproof vest that protects you when life gets tough. It also breaks our habit of focusing on the bad stuff and gets us focusing on all the good things in our lives instead. This simple shift changes everything. Try it. This gratitude question is a seriously powerful tool. I picked it up from Kenny, a coach I worked with. It's one of those rare techniques that really stuck with me. Even in your worst moments, just ask, what can I be grateful for right now? The answer might surprise you, and it will change everything. Now, lesson number 4. I used to think money would make my life amazing. I could spend my days having fun instead of working hard. I could afford my dream vacations. I'd enjoy all the nice things in the world. But that's one of the biggest traps you could fall into, and I'm so glad I caught myself before it was too late. Because here's what happens. You get more money, you feel good for a while, you buy the things you've always wanted. You take those dream vacations, and it is exciting at first. But then something strange happens. That happiness, it starts to fade. The new car just becomes your car. The fancy apartment just becomes where you live. And you think, maybe I just need more money to feel excited again. It's a treadmill that speeds up the longer you run on it. And what's crazy is that everywhere you look, social media, TV, ads, they're all telling you to keep running faster. What they don't tell you is that what really makes life worth living isn't what you have, but it's what you're building, creating, what you're contributing to. Some of the wealthiest people I know are miserable, but the ones who are maybe less wealthy, but feel genuine, lasting satisfaction, these are the people who found something they cared about deeply enough to dedicate themselves to it. Some people found purpose in creating art, others in building community spaces where people felt they belonged, some in raising kids or mentoring others or fighting for causes they believed in. The common thread wasn't about what they chose. It didn't matter if it is art or activism or building a family. What mattered was that they found something bigger than themselves, something that made them think, hey, I'm making a difference here. What I'm doing with my YouTube channel and my newsletter is how I bring meaning into my own life. I talk about topics that are incredibly meaningful to people's lives, so I feel I'm here to serve something bigger than myself. I help people solve their most painful challenges and make huge positive changes in their lives. So, lesson number 4 is simple but profound. You think you need money and fame, but what you really need is a purpose, a mission that gets you out of bed in the morning with fire in your eyes, with a sense that you're building something that matters. After 5 decades on this planet, I've never seen a bank account bring the kind of peace that comes from living with purpose. Without purpose, you're just collecting stuff and experiences that end up feeling empty. So, ask yourself today, what am I doing that would still matter a year from now? That's where the real goal is, not in your wallet, but in the answer to that question. And this brings us to lesson number 5. Growing up in a small city, I had big dreams. Dreams of working in media, being a pro photographer, living an international life, finding love. Fast forward 50 years and I made them all happen. I made these dreams happen not by waiting for permission, but by going after what I wanted, despite my fears, despite being scared and feeling like this is completely out of my comfort zone. And for each new chapter, I had to invent and reinvent myself to become someone I hadn't been before. If you told me 2 years ago I'd have a YouTube channel, and on that YouTube channel I talk openly about my life, I would have laughed. That's not me. But that's exactly my point. We all have stories about who we are and what we're capable of. These stories become invisible walls. I'm too old. I'm not talented enough. That's for other people. We live smaller lives because we believe these limitations are real. So, my 5th lesson is question your stories, especially the ones that start with I can't or I'm not the type who. The most amazing parts of my life happened when I stopped saying that's not me and started asking, what if it could be? Your story isn't finished, and the best part, you're the author. So, I hope you use whatever time you have left on this planet to create the most amazing story you can imagine. Love you all.